Hi everyone, this is Wayne Rivers at Performance Construction Advisors, where we build better contractors. This week I want to talk about how to tell when you're in over your head. So actually there were three sources for this, a vlog that Arlen sent from Jim Baker, one from Craig Groeschel that I take, and then actually me from February of 2022. So there was a combination of things. So I want to talk about 7 ways to tell when you're over your head, but just as importantly 6 ways to hopefully get out of being over your head, okay? Now, what about this is important to you? Man, construction is so demanding. Holy moly, it's just one thing after another. And if you think you're going to have some space on a certain day and you're going to be able to relax for 10 minutes, forget about it. It's just not going to happen. So it's easy to get really bogged down. All right, first tip then, how to tell. Things you used to be on top of really start to slip, so you don't have any space, any free space at all on your calendar. Your calendar's just jammed up, one thing after another, no breathing room whatsoever. Your company or your personal budget begins to fall apart. Just the details of day-to-day life start to get away from you. You miss deadlines and you just can't quite catch up. I mean, those are, when you start to feel that kind of disarray in your life, that's a pretty good warning sign. The second thing, employee turnover. Employee turnover is just a bad sign. Big company or small, it doesn't matter. Employee turnover, analyze it. What's going on? Is it a pattern, or is this just random? What's going on? But stay on top of that. When your turnover starts to creep up above the norms, you really need to pay attention to that. The third thing is working harder but accomplishing less. So you used to go in at 7 and leave by 6, and now you're going in at 7 and leaving at 8 or something. And we're finding yourself working on weekends. And you're working harder, but you feel like you're spinning your wheels and you're just getting less done and still never gaining that traction that you need. Number 4, stress, anxiety, even depression begins to well up. You can't stop your mind from racing to try to keep up. You wake up in the middle of the night and your brain is just spinning like crazy. Those things are danger signs for sure. The 5th one, increased dissatisfaction or complaints from your customers. You've gone for years and you've been a great steward of your customers and their service, and now suddenly you're starting to get complaints and dissatisfactions and just inklings that things aren't right anymore from your customers or your trade partners. Something to be thinking about. Number 6, you're way outside your comfort zone. Now, we talked in a vlog ages ago about it's good to get outside. You're training for a marathon, for example. You're going to have to get outside your comfort zone if you're going to run a marathon. You're going to have to push yourself. So being outside your comfort zone actually allows you to grow in many ways, and it's a good thing. But when you're consistently outside it, and again, your stress and anxiety, potentially depression, all those things, you've really got to start to pay attention to your inner self. And then the 7th one is things get bad at home. Spouse, children, things you used to love to do, play golf or whatever, things you used to love to do that you just don't have time or energy for anymore, that also is a bad sign. Now, okay, it's easy in construction to find yourself in over your head. How do you get out of in over your head? Now, again, you've got to think about this too. You've got to think about temporary versus permanent situations. So there could be a point where from June the 1st through September the 30th, you are going to be swamped, and you can gird up and you can say, okay, I'm gonna handle that. I'm gonna have to plow through. That's the way it is. However, if this stuff is coming upon you unintentionally, it's not something you can calendarize. It's not something you can predict. Then it's more of a warning sign, I think. Okay, so 6 tips for what to do. The first thing is don't ignore the warning signs. As Dennis always said when he was doing vlogs, run to your trouble. Run to your trouble. Make sure that you attack the problems before they get even bigger and more troublesome. The second thing is determine if the imbalance is short-term or long-term. So, okay, I can take it if I know that this stress and pressure and extra work is going to stop around the end of September. If it's just no end in sight, that's that's mentally daunting. That's too much. The third thing is ask for help. Coworkers, professionals, you may need to talk to a counselor, you may need to, see, exercise physiologist, nutritionist. Ask for help to get yourself back in balance. Other people have been there, and there are some prescriptions, you might say, for how to get back into a better balanced situation. The fourth thing is break your work into parts. You know, what's the old saying about the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So make sure that you're breaking your work down into bite-sized parts so that it doesn't seem overwhelming. To me, any construction project seems overwhelming, but to you folks that live the life, well, I think it would be quite natural to break it down into discrete parts. The fifth thing is examine and potentially rearrange your priorities. There's an old saying, I think it's financial planners used to say this back in the day, and they would say, pay yourself first. In other words, save your money. So make sure that when you get that paycheck, it doesn't all go to groceries or mortgage or whatever. Pay yourself first, save some money. And in this case, you pay yourself with time first. So if you love golf, schedule it, by gosh, schedule it. And make sure you get out there on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever it happens to be. Maybe you like doing woodwork. Schedule it, put it on your calendar, and make sure that you block that off first so that you're paying yourself first in terms of time. And then the sixth thing, I guess you know I'm going to say this, is develop a plan. All this stuff is happening, and it's not going to unhappen unless you have a plan for making it so. So develop a plan, get with your peers at work, contact people that might be professionals, talk to people in your family, but develop a plan for getting out of this treadmill of stress and frustration and anxiety. What are your tips? We'd like to hear from you. Send me an email and let me know. And don't forget about boot camp in Denver in September of 2025. So contact Charlotte for more information there. This is Wayne Rivers at Performance Construction Advisors, where we build better contractors.